Yooka-Replaylee. Playtonic and crew call it a remastered definitive version of the original Yooka-Laylee released back in 2017. Here we are now, 8 years later, the team re-exploring their gem of a platformer with a very shiny new coat of paint. I had the opportunity to play this game on PS5 before launch, and I do want to say thank you to the team, and I cannot wait to go back and 100% it. First and foremost, yes, I have in fact played the original and personally had fun with it. Not only did I want to re-explore a classic 3D version of the game again, remember, we had The Impossible Lair, a 2D 3D hybrid adventure in 2019. Fantastic experience, by the way. Having the original fully 3D game brought back with even more things to do, it really felt like I experienced this franchise anew. One major issue I recall consumers having with the original, players felt like the worlds felt too big, too empty for what they were. With Yooka-Replaylee, it didn't feel that way. Not only do we have new added sections in these worlds, 2D and 3D, the worlds themselves do in fact feel fuller this time, especially with new collectibles. We now have quids, coins you collect to purchase cosmetics from Vendy, up to 104 cosmetics for our duo. This is something I really anticipated playing around with when I first saw the trailers. I love it. Tonics, for those who played the original, are back, 35 in total. That's double the original, and some can still serve as a way to not only make the game more challenging if you ever wish, but some tonics also act as filters. Those are really cool if you'd ever like to try. And this time you can even equip multiple tonics at once. Quills are back, 750 in total to collect in the game, with different color variations for each world. This time, however, quills are used to purchase not moves, rather more cosmetics, tonics, and add-ons from Trowser even. In the original 2017 game, you would purchase new moves from Trowser, which for me personally made collecting quills more enticing. Having Trowser also sell cosmetics, albeit full sets, and tonics for example, it's a simple case of should I shop at Trowser's or Vendy's instead. That's where the original was able to differentiate the two vendors. One would sell you items, the other would sell you moves. Speaking of moves, in Replaylee, all moves are already unlocked from the get-go. Since we are in the topic of things already unlocked, worlds in Replaylee are now already fully expanded from the get-go. What I mean is, in the original 2017 game, you would have to spend pages to expand these worlds for a second visit. That is no longer the case in this version. Instead, we have pagey doors. We need a certain number of pages to advance through Highbury Towers. So this also means no more quizzes from Dr. Quack. Personally, I miss that. I never really minded that in the original. I'm guessing this was their way of making it simpler or faster for players to advance through Highbury Towers. In this version, the quizzes have been completely toned down to just one little section in the second level inside of the castle, with all answers being correct. As for other changes, we now have puzzle pieces. 2 sets of 4 in each world, 40 pieces in total. Collecting all sets in each world grants you 2 pages. Oh, and pages in total in the game have doubled. 300 total, whereas original we had 145. All other collectibles from the original, such as molecules for transformations, ghost riders, as well as Rextro arcade tokens, all reappear in Replaylee. Hey, since we're talking about Rextro arcade levels have completely transformed into something new, have to say. I enjoy these sections more than Carto's minigames now. If there's any change of pace I go for, it's Rextro levels. It's fun, colorful, has responsive controls, and just beautiful to look at. I did notice quite a difficulty spike later on, especially in the 4th world. I had to really rely on hiding in certain spots, as to not feel overwhelmed. Another addition I truly admire are these fantastic art pieces during load screen. Look at these. These are bright and colorful and very nice to simply look at. Same goes for the worlds themselves. I really admired the view and gorgeous colors in the background. Yooka-Laylee, or rather Replaylee, now has the addition of brand new animation and dialogue. Adds a bigger layer of life to these characters. For abilities, some of them have been touched up. Our glide, for example. Laylee no longer flaps her wings throughout. Controls do feel more responsive, especially when you feel like gliding and, say, doing a tail twirl mid-air to reach certain platforms. Stamina in this game has no limits. You can now roll and even swim without a meter or gauge running out. The original had you rely on that limited time, but you can apply tonics and bring some of that stamina back if you crave more of a challenge. For camera controls, I noticed some changes when walking around buildings. In fact, I feel the camera, especially for Carto's sections, felt more bearable than the original. The camera feels like it's more zoomed out, allowing for a more comfortable control and, of course, viewing experience. Next thing worth mentioning, the game now features a map. You find a bunch of marks in the world. If you feel like you need to fast travel, then simply open up the map and select the mark you choose. I especially found this very helpful for very tower-like levels like the first one and second, not to mention exploring Ivory Towers. As for giving marks any quids, yeah, you can do that. I didn't do much of that, as I like that little extra challenge of finding pages myself. It's like a last resort type of thing for me personally. If you ever do want to pay mark quids, the game is pretty forgiving when looking for these coins. They do respawn from enemies and even quills you've previously collected. The game also has a pagey tracker. You can now better identify which pages you've already collected, something the 2017 version did not have. Now, onto the story. The premise remains the same. Capital B wants all pages in order to rewrite the universe. Here's where things get different compared to the 2017 version of the game. Replaylee is actually a retelling or a rewritten story, call it. In Replaylee, we have our duo tell the story of their grand adventure right when you start a new game. Then we have the one book. This would be the updated version of Laylee's Prophet book from the original, which we actually get to free right at the beginning in this completely new section in Shipwreck Creek. This time, this book has more personality and character given to it. The ending of this game also has a new scene, but that's all I'll say on that matter. One thing I loved about the original, or Yooka-Laylee, is the soundtrack. The music in this game has been reorchestrated, brought to you by Grant Kirkhope, Matt Griffin, and Dan Murdoch. Sounds just as amazing. By the way, you can revert to the original if you'd like. You can equip that as a tonic. Now, in terms of technical things, I personally did not experience any distracting frame drops on PS5. There were a few awkward moments with the camera, especially in tighter sections, but nothing too overwhelming. I've noticed dialogue at times taking longer than usual to appear on screen. I could still hear the typing through my DualSense speakers. I did experience the screen going black within one of the sections in Isometric Palace. What happened is that I used Sonar Explosion at the same time the timer ended. It caused the screen to remain black with audio still playing. I had to quit the game and restart from the last captured page. Going back to this section, the issue did not persist. This was even before patch 002 for those curious. As for load times on PS5, 3 to 5 seconds while entering different rooms within worlds. At most 8 seconds while entering worlds and different corridors in Ivory Towers, if you were ever curious about that. Now, before we wrap up, if you don't intend on 100%ing the game, expect between 10 to 15 hours of gameplay. If you do want to 100%, you can expect up to 20-25 hours of total game, I'd say. With that, Yooka-Replaylee, I give it an 8.5 out of 10. I'm really enjoying it. If you've never played the original version or just curious about this series altogether, I recommend picking up Replaylee. The game is available on PS5, Xbox Series, PC, as well as the Switch too. $29.99 USD, 30% discount for those who own the original digital version of the game. So, with that said, thank you for listening and watching. I've been Vivi, and until next time.